Thank you for listening to the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. Please support the show by subscribing to and leaving a 5-star rating for the show on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podbean, SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, and any of your favorite podcast platforms. You can also support the show by going to our website, blackandgoldhockey.com, where there's always exciting articles by the B&G writing staff. While you're there, don't forget to click on the fanatics.com banner for a great sports fan shopping experience.
Hey, you done yet? We gotta start the show.
Behind the net to Sanderson. Scores for the Boston Bruins.
30 seconds left in the period. The Bruins are shorthanded. Ray Bourque from the face-off circle to the right of Reggie Whitman. Fired it down, and Whitmore blew it.
Did he ever?
To Bergeron on the drive, save, rebound, he's loose. Sagan kicks him loose. Bergeron scores! Patrice Bergeron with the point of the dagger in their throats. They rip it out of Toronto's hands and kill the beast. The Boston Bruins have won it after being 3 down in the third.
Hey, Bruins fans, welcome back to the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. This is episode 189, brought to you by show sponsor betonline.ag. I am coming in hot this week with my best friend, the best co-host, and I always say that because she is the only co-host on this, and I have to give her a ton of credit. But Heather Ingerson, what's up?
Nothing. I don't know what you're so perky about, but I guess.
Well, I have to start the show with somewhat perkiness, you know what I mean?
Good thing you have the energy level. It was good we didn't record before because the after recording, at least we can get straight to my actual mood. It'll be great. But
Yeah.
I'm glad you have the energy, my friend, because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm going to need you to keep that because I'm like.
No, I know. As soon as we get it right into it, I'm sure my mood is going to change. But we'll see about that. So
I'll feel better after I talk out my problems.
Just a minute. How was your week? Anything good besides what we're going to talk about later?
No, pretty much working hockey. Some bike rides or whatever with my kid. Well, he was riding a bike. I just power walk. Whatever. Got out a little bit, saw a couple friends, social distance wise, which was nice. And, that's it. I'm not feeling very enthusiastic about Sunday, but the rest of the week was pretty good. My eyes hate me, but I'm a little mad at the Columbus Blue Jackets, but they can rectify that situation tonight.
Yes, hopefully they can take down the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight.
How was your week, my friend?
It was good. It was just another busy work week, crazy times and blah, 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 and just working on the website, podcast stuff, and paperwork has been filed for us to legitimately have a sports media company. So I am starting Black and Gold Productions, and it is going to be an LLC company. So small steps, a lot of money, but whatever. It has to be done. So
I was going to say, I actually want to say that. I was going to say it more towards the end, but since you brought it up, 2,000 articles, guys. The writers, the awesomeness.
Absolutely.
Black and Gold.
The whole crew at the blackandgoldhockey.com, past and present, been beauties and so on. But we have hit the threshold of 2,000 articles since the website went live in 2017. So that is
over 2,000 now, because that was a couple days ago.
Yes. Well, Mike Craddy just put out that. So, and actually Maria from Watertown was the actual one that hit the 2,000. So
yay, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, other than that, it's been good, and things are really moving in the right direction. We have a really great crew at the blackandgoldhockey.com, 26 members, growing. We're bringing on another guy this week. He's more of an analytic breakdown guy, so he's going to break down every game and provide some numbers. So we welcome that addition, and we welcome anything, frankly, that's Bruins related to the blackandgoldhockey.com group. So if you're interested, send us an email, send me a DM. You know, there's good opportunities coming up for folks that wanna get into the whole journalism thing as a blogger and so on. So with that being said, we might as well talk about show sponsor betonline.ag. Sports keep coming back. That's right. Hockey is back. We're going to talk about that. Baseball is on a whim, but they're still going. Golf is rocking. Awesome. The PGA Championships on today, finishing up round 4. And so here's your chance to get in the action with our show sponsor, BetOnline, our exclusive betting partner, betonline.ag. Major League Baseball's finally start the summer this weekend. This is an older one, as it's in full swing, and there's no shortage of ways to get in the action. BetOnline has all the odds, futures, and props to bet on. And as sports start to return, BetOnline has sat down with Eddie George from the NFL, Robert Horry, 7-time NBA champ, and Harold Raines from the Major League Baseball to get their opinions on what it will be like playing without fans and what they're calling Fandemic. Visit betonline.ag today to check out all the odds and up-to-date sports news. Don't forget to sign up and take advantage of the welcome back to sports bonuses. And please, folks, we ask that you use code CLNS50. That's CLNS50. BetOnline.ag, your online wagering experts. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. So last week, I let Heather take the reins of the agenda. We did create a Google sheet that we can both attach ourselves to and discuss topics throughout the week. So, and we did that, but I failed on pulling that window up. So, Heather, it's all urine.
It's all right. It would look totally different than when you gave it to me. I was like, oh, this order can't do. like these are smooth transitions. And then I was like, oh, wait, how do I edit this again? And so I just resorted to adding and moving rows, just copied and pasted it till it did what I did.
There you go.
Anyways, well, I bet that there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is last Sunday, we were very excited, right? We were going to play Philly. We weren't mad about the Columbus exhibition game, whatever. Yay, hope and blah. But we're Boston fans. So now we find ourselves on this Sunday about an hour after the Washington third round robin game happened or whatever. And I don't know about you. I'm feeling a little bit, I don't know. I think I'm like shell-shocked a little and a little confused. I'm not exactly mad. I'm more curious. I don't know. So I thought maybe we could just start and get just to it. So let's reflect and talk about positives or negatives or what we're mad about or what we're happy about and whatever, just about the round robin play. Like just in a general sense, because I don't want to get into the details, so I'm probably going to lose my damn mind. So what say you, Mark Allred? Philly, Tampa Bay, Washington. Let's just do maybe like a 10-minute little reflection. We'll work out our feelings. We'll talk about what we're building up all week. Go.
My thing is there was no passion. I didn't see anything positive. Honestly, I don't know what Bruce Cassidy is talking about when he says he's comfortable and we're making strides forward. I understand you got to talk positivity about your club, but you basically failed to show up in these things. I mean, you lost to Philly on 4-1 on August 2nd. You lost to Tampa Bay 3-2 on Wednesday the 5th. And today's last game of the round robin, you lost to the Washington Capitals 2-1. The Washington game did have a little bit of some spark to it, but it was not consistent, spark. It was more sporadic. So with all that being said, I just don't see this Bruins club prepared for the next round, the first round, and we now know it's against the Carolina Hurricanes, and that's a scary matchup in my opinion. It's just by the way that team played, how they took care of the Rangers in 3 straight, swept See ya. Go on, get. I didn't expect that. I actually thought that the Rangers would put up a little more of a fight and potentially win that series with that lineup. But, it's the same thing with the Columbus and Tampa Bay last year. You just don't know what type of team you're going to get, and you're going to get trucked, and you're going to be out real quick. So I really hope that the Boston Bruins take this time off and use it effectively, because in my opinion, having the 6th, 7th, and 8th off before the Washington game, that's 3 days, hard practices and so on, you still didn't come in with a 60-minute effort that you're going to need against a very talented Columbus team.
Carolina.
So,
anyways, I sort of disagree a little bit that I do think, although it's been generally an S show this week on the whole, I think every game's gotten a little better. So Philly, I was like, what is happening right now? I was literally watching, like, I'm confused. Okay, so all right, whatever. It's round robin, but you want to get points. Tampa Bay was a little better. I don't think Torrey Krug should be the person having to fight or do whatever, but props for sticking up for your teammates and stuff. Today, this is what I ended up writing down, just kind of trying to reflect. I was like, I'm going to do a pro-con list. But this is really all I can put up with before I couldn't tolerate pondering about it anymore. So today the second line was okay, right? This is the first time. We'll reflect on Kasha in a little bit. But generally, right, the second line that was supposed to be the second line or whatever, this is the first time we got to see them together. This is the first week they've had practices together. I think with the next few days of hard practices, we might get some real good secondary scoring coming from at least, well, they'll be the primary scoring line if that happens, but you know what I mean. So that looks good though. Like, you know what I mean? They seem to have a little bit of, you know what I mean? They seem to be able to read each other. I think that they've improved every game. I think Charlie McAvoy has looked good over the last 2 games at least. You know what I mean? He's doing a good job of, we always talk about, like, sometimes he struggles with being the defensive defenseman and offensively, like, you know, with using his big brain to make, like, the offensively minded defensive plays. And he has looked good on that. He's been eating a lot of minutes. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to be, the, like, top running minute guy on the back end. So that's good, right?
Yeah, he was today.
Passing was better today and last time. Not perfect, because that's one of our strengths, right? Crisp, clean transition, like Barry and I were talking about earlier. Defense is transitioning well. Once we get into the offensive zone, we're kind of, that's where we're not focused or whatever. But they look a lot better than they did today than versus Philly last Sunday. So there has been marked improvement over the week. And I think that, yeah, the defense has been a lot better. Maybe not on the front end, but definitely on the back end. But what's really bad is that they're playing really uninspired hockey. Like, if the same team that played today was inspired a little and not, they're very much, they seem like round robin play. Now, I don't think they're playing that way on purpose. I think they really are just kind of off. Like, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Whatever was happening for the last 2 years or whatever is not happening now. Chara looks really, really slow today. That concerns me because Carolina's fast. And that's just, I'm not mad at Z. He is the oldest player on the ice. And as a matter of fact, the oldest player probably ever to play in a Stanley Cup, you know, well, he's probably one of the first oldest players to play in a round robin game, but you know what I mean. But I would like Zdeno Chara to not look like today. Again, it's not going to be good. Carolina will just punch a hole all over that, but we'll talk about that matchup later. I'd give them a C. They have bursts of greatness. You're like, oh, look, the Bruins. And then you're like, whatever. Tuukka played well. That was good, right? Also, plant somebody in front of the net. That's how we score goals. We plant, we pass, we pass, we pass, we plant. And then eventually it tips in or whatever, or someone gets the slot open. We're not doing that, and that is part of the struggle. You have to what did Maria, she tweeted something like, last time I knew you had to, like, score goals too and more than the other team or something like that. I think it was her. That's true. I think we're going to be okay, but it's still seriously a struggle. Excuse me to rip up this, but I don't want to look at this list. I want to hope the next few days of practice is going to help them out, because the first round starts on the 11th, which is Tuesday. We don't know yet if we're playing or not, because they still don't know. We're waiting for Toronto and Columbus to wrap up too. But first round begins this week in a couple days. So like you said, we're getting like maybe 3 days or whatever. Then it's go time, right?
I kind of expected them to be getting involved on the Thursday or the 14th Friday.
Yeah.
That gives Toronto a little bit of time, Scotiabank Arena, their staff, to get that ice prepared. I mean, we're going to have the list of teams that are going to be in the bubble have gotten smaller, and they will tonight too with tonight's Columbus and Maple Leafs game. So yeah, I mean, damn, that's not a lot of time. If you're hearing that this whole thing is going to start on the 11th.
Well, when I was reading something like the NHL, because I was looking to see if they had like the actual brackets up of whatever. Like we kind of know what the brackets are on each side, but we know who's in or whatever. But it said that was on one of the strategic dates. Do you know what I mean? How they had that list of dates. It was like updated that the 11th is when the first round starts. The 25th is when they expect the second round start. And then I didn't write down the Stanley Cup final round. We'll talk about that once we get through. But so those were just dates that I noticed too. But overall, I think we might still be all right. Actually, something I had written down just as other random thoughts in my head. Let's just talk about it now because we're gonna move on to some of your other topics like you had them. But do you think it's better for Boston knowing, even though the fans aren't in the building, the environment of being a Boston Bruin? Do you think it's actually better that this President's Trophy winning 100-point team is in fourth instead of first pressure-wise? Even though Carolina is a hard matchup to have landed on, do you know what I mean? Especially the way we're playing, Jesus. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But do you think pressure-wise it might be better?
I don't know. I just don't even want to buy into that they were coasting through these round robin games. There's a lot of people that have said that they're like tanking. I don't want to believe that. I do want to believe that they tried to do their best, but from what I've seen, that certainly didn't live up to any validity at all with them. I don't know. That's a tough one because I don't know. You know, this team really didn't show me anything in this round robin that's gonna, immediately say, wow, look out, Carolina. And this is not the 19 Carolina team. This is not going to be a pushover like they were that the Bruins did last year and swept them, I believe, in the conference finals, correct?
Yeah.
So this is going to be a bigger test, and I just really thought that this club was going to be a little more prepared with all the days off and then 3 games within, 8 days?
Well, I wasn't meaning that they were throwing games. I just mean now that they happen to land in the number 4 spot, like, and once shit gets really going, do you think this team operates better when they're some kind of underdog and have something to fight for than when they're kind of the top team being chased? Like, do you feel like they're better at chasing?
When was the last time we've ever had this? I just can't remember this far back. This type of situation when this Boston Bruins team is like so far behind. You know what I mean?
But it's only 3 games. I'm saying just generally though, like whenever we're in a situation where they're down, do you think they tend to come up? Like these round robin games in the end really didn't count for much but seeding, right? But now that it starts, do you think coming out, I just mean like starting as a lower seed, now they're not the top dog. Now they have something to fight towards instead of like warding off the other teams if you're the number 1, right? I mean, Philly's playing like they should be number 1. Good for them for getting the top seed. They're playing excellent hockey. Good luck, Montreal Canadiens. You did your job. You knocked off the Pens for me. That's all I was asking from you. That's all I meant. I didn't mean, do you think they threw it? But now that they're not, the best team, the President's Trophy went, now that's like, oh, they look at this busted down Bruins team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes they play better when they're in that position.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's really hard for me to answer this question because of what I saw. You certainly didn't play like a 100-point team at all that week, and it's disappointing, and I'm thoroughly not happy about it. So, whether it's a disadvantage or an advantage, I really don't know. I can't tell.
You're getting mad about this, so we're going to move on to a different topic. Whatever. We wrapped up the week. Who cares? The real thing starts probably Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, somewhere around there.
Well, it's a little disheartening. You know what I mean?
Well, no kidding. It is, but I'm already.
You guys got to show up. This is like a training camp to the first round. So, it's so bad. I'm not in a very good place right now with this team, and it doesn't look any good moving forward.
Exactly, but I'm also trying to not be those fans that are already like, oh my God, these bombs. Like, I don't want to be them either. Like, I want to make it clear this team can get their shit together and still win the Stanley Cup if they make a choice sometime in the next 3 days to find who they like. For me, it's not even about they do need to find their legs and all that other crap, but they need to find their identity. Like, they're just not playing like themselves. Like, for a team that's so close and they're like band of brothers, like just funny. So they just don't seem like they're, I don't know, playing like a team.
Exactly.
They've looked better. Again, I think they've looked better, but maybe Cassidy, they'll all sit down, figure it out. And then we see them play Carolina. And we're like, oh, there they are. And they're going to have to, because if not, they're going to get taken out by Carolina, who's playing some hot hockey. But anyways, next topic, Jack Studnicka. You had written down about, like, do you think he's in the doghouse with Cassidy? So go ahead. I'll let you.
Yeah, I kind of think he is. There's some players that got opportunities in these playing rounds that I thought he could have been better at, even at the right wing. So when Carson Coleman got some time, I wasn't thoroughly impressed with what he did, and it's limited. We haven't. I get the whole. It's been a while. It's been 4.5 months and so on. But these guys are athletes. They're professionals. They should be ready to go on a dime. So
longer for him too, because he was hurt. He didn't
yes.
even get to play that much. So.
But I just thought that Jack could have gotten a better look in these playing rounds. And I don't know if we're going to see him now that Kasha's back, but see him back in the Stanley Cup playoffs with the full roster moving forward. So is it just, I just thought that, he was, and we're not in the bubble. We don't see practices and so on. We see videos and blah, blah, blah. But I just think that the kid's a hard worker. And I thought that from what I saw in that little sample size when he was in, I thought that he did okay. And I thought he did a lot better than Carson Coleman. And I'm not crapping on Coleman in his game, but it was more north to south, and that was basically it. It was just very bland. So you could tell that he had some rust from not playing an actual game and so on. So,
do you think that perhaps Cassidy is just trying to maybe let everyone get some actual game kind of situation time? Do you know what I mean? Like that's why maybe he played Coleman instead of, so everyone besides a little practice, because who knows? Like, you could people could get injured, and he also needs to kind of assess. We have more players than he normally has with them going into the playoffs and stuff. I'm not saying a naysayer, and I do think that you may see some of those kids like Studnicka slotting in at some point, even for rest days if they do progress in the playoffs or injury or whatever else. But do you think maybe it's not so much he's in trouble as, or maybe, like you said, we haven't seen practice. We don't know. Like, he could have just been.
I wish they would have done that. I wish they would have filmed the practices. They got 40 freaking cameras in that building. So, but
just, do you think maybe he also just wanted, especially the younger kids, to get some game time, like real, like, get out on the ice against the other teams? Like we talked about, you're going to obviously playing against your own team in a scrimmage is different than playing another team.
Yeah. And I actually have a quote that from Evan Marinovsky. Mm-hmm. This was a couple days ago, but they were talking about that. Somebody brought it up and said, is Jack going to get some time or something like that? And Cassidy on Studnicka being out tonight. He's out of the lineup tonight because Richie and Kasha were brought in to help us win in the playoffs.
Well, he's not wrong. They would trade deadline acquisitions. Jeez.
Yeah.
Trade deadline acquisitions. And actually, yeah. So, like, when everyone's like pissed, it's like, no, actually, though, Andre Kasha is supposed to be the second line, right? Like, that's literally what he got hired to do, And even though he only played a couple games and, like, whatever, like you said, like, you're not shocked that Studnicka might get bumped for that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So on one level, I do see that. Again, like, these are people that they specifically sought out to shore up the lineup. That doesn't mean Studnicka's and our other guys can't help. Maybe, you get to carry a good amount of people and whatnot,
Right.
Things go bad. I don't know. Some of the line combinations this week, I'm like,
Yeah, it's been pretty bad.
Yeah. So So what do we talk about? Okay, so all right. Well, we'll talk about this. And I thought it was hilarious. I saw that Chris Blackie. I wrote my cousin Eric Blackie when Cliffy's in the lineup with the dancing. Yeah, that was hilarious. So thank you. Getting deliveries and during the podcast. That's nice. No one
That's
ever
awesome.
gives me deliveries. So Clifton was in today instead of Grizzlick, right? So what say you? Do you think Connor overall did?
I thought he did okay. I nothing really stuck out to me. Pretty strong on his legs for not being playing much. I know they're practicing on the regular, but no, I thought he did all right. I don't know. It was just a maintenance day for Grizzlick and some other members. So yeah, I mean, it's probably the same thing. Like you mentioned with Paston, Studnicka, with just getting into a game and getting that feeling and preparedness to possibly be ready for some upcoming action or to put him out there and evaluate for a future round against the Hurricanes. So I thought he did okay. I think he's probably going to be just one of those 7th, 8th type of guys that's going to probably rotate if a veteran needs a break. The 7-game series start now moving forward. So, if you're up 3 games to nothing and you need to rest a player like Zdeno Chara, who looks like he needs a little bit more rest, you can do that with a guy like Clifton and Urho, Vakanainen, and so on. I'm not sure if they're going to get in time, but especially like a player like Urho. But yeah, I mean, that's basically, I thought he did okay. I like Connor. I think he's a steady, tough defenseman to play against, but he still needs to round out his all around game. So
That's what I was thinking, is that, obviously he's not expected. You expect to see him have, decent play, but, there's only so much that you're expecting Connor Clifton to do. I thought he looked good defensively today. You know what I mean? Sometimes he struggles, especially like there's a rush into the zone, you know what I mean? Of making, just like young kids do, you know what I mean? Sometimes you make the wrong play. Yeah, thought he was all right. I just thought to mention, this is the first time we've seen him really, you know what I mean, get some look. All right, so I'm trying to be enthusiastic. Look at me, I'm trying.
I did think the Clifton Lozon pairing was good today, though. If you want to talk about a pairing and not just an individual, I thought those two worked all right. Lozon's got something, he's got to pick it up a little bit more. I have full faith in him, moving forward, but there was times that he looked like he was out there taking a break, but who knows?
All right, well, let's talk about Kasha.
All right.
So just generally, this is the first week that Andre Kasha has been here. Again, we're still confused. Was he actually on the plane? Like, have we not seen him enough to know he actually was on the plane with the boys? Because
he's officially in the bubble as of
we
today.
talked about, like, he had to have flown out not long after them to be doing press last Thursday or whatever, because they have to do 4 tests at 24 hours apart or whatever the deal is, Okay, so first week of practice, first week, game in today. What do you think? Because he's a strange character right now, because people hate him because he's been like the international man of mystery. Like, you don't know where he is, what's going on. And we haven't seen enough of him for people to like be invested in him to like, So what just say you, now that you've had some actual look, a little bit of like,
He looked rusty. He looked very out of place. Fast. There was just I don't know. This is like the 7th game I've seen him play, and I wasn't impressed much at all. Possibly Studnicka at that right side could be an option for Bruce, but that's just my opinion.
See, I was going to say the opposite. I think, like I said, after those guys settle down together, I think they're going to be all right. I don't really know how he seemed that unimpressive to you, because really that line was really the line that was trying to most actually put the damn puck in the net. They are actually shooting at the net and like making like, oh, this is how you actually get the goal. It's like,
right.
whatever.
I thought DeBrusque had some jump in his.
Oh my
in
God.
his
Yes, he
today.
did. I was so happy when he scored. I'm like, boom, Jakey. That's good for him because, he gets in these ruts, you know what I mean? Kind of thing. And maybe he's had a long week. He was like on the third line on the right side. I'm like, oh yeah, that's going to solve the Krejci problem by moving his left wing to the lower line, which I understand that game people had been moved around. It wasn't just him, but I was just like, I think I'm hating this worse every time you change the lineup. I don't,
Yeah.
like, I think I had sent out like, just please put everyone where they might supposed to be so we can kind of see what that will look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get people had maintenance day, whatever, but see, I didn't think he looked too bad. I'm not saying he looked spectacular, but it's really hard to judge any one player when the whole team is looking kind of like blah. But if you're going to ask me, especially today, that second line was the one that had some pep in their step or whatever, where previously Wagner and them were dragging our asses past the finish line, which good, like that's great, but you don't want Chris Wagner to be your top goal scorer in the play-ins. You just don't. That's not his job. You know what I mean?
That whole fourth line today was they got limited minutes. That was, I mean, for the play-in rounds, they were heavily relied on, and a lot of people were saying that that was their best line.
They've hands down been the best line all week.
Yeah, today, I mean, after the first period, each one of them were averaging about 3 minutes a period, and I was just like, wow, for a team, for a line that's driving, they're not getting many looks at all. I mean, Pasternak was like loading up the minutes. Bergeron was loading up the minutes. DeBrusque was loading up the minutes. I mean,
Krejci was on the ice a lot.
Yes, he was. And I mean, that line overall, when you think about all three of them, it wasn't bad. There's some good things to move forward with.
That's what that you can work with.
Yeah. And we got to the first line, man. It's like, what is up with these guys? And secondary
One time Marchand looked like he was almost going to do something there.
Yeah, I mean, and secondary scoring is definitely going to be needed moving forward in the next round, but I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Yeah. All right, well, I just wanted to check in about Kasha. See, like, again, I mean, I respectfully sort of disagree with you about, like, I don't think he was atrocious, but I also do think you have to put him also in perspective, just like kind of Clifton. You got a little more rust, and some of it is probably self-induced. I get that, but he also was out. He was injured when he first got traded here a little bit, and he didn't really get a lot of solid time in.
Right.
Okay, so that being said, that's actually the next thing is – what's up with the lack of the perfection line?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Secondary scoring we talked about, but I think there's hope in that if we can get people going. But we know we have to get this top line going to do something. So do you think the hell is going on? Because
I have no idea, Heather, what is going on with that line. Was from mid-March to way back in October when this team started. That was the line that that was the they were the horse that dragged the carriage, and I'm just not seeing a lot of good things from any of them. Like Pasternak today, I mean, gets the puck on the blue line and then just a quick pass to another player, a Washington player to boot. The giveaways were absolutely ridiculous in this game. I think they were up to 16. Or 18. I got to look at the game notes again, possibly.
What's up with 4 people on the blue line and 1 person crashing the net? No, guys, like everybody move into the zone. Like why are there 4 people on the blue line after someone's halfway to the net? I don't confused. Again, the Bruins were quick. Like what move? Don't stand there.
I don't know what's going on with these guys. They just don't look like they were fully bought into any of these games, and which is it just that's what basically puts a bad taste in my mouth about moving forward. Is just these are technically your practice round games, you know what I mean? This team might talk about them being the throwaway and they really don't matter, but yeah, they do matter because every one of us Boston Bruins fans that were watching this is what we're supposed to expect moving forward in the rounds leading up to a Stanley Cup and possibly a return to the Stanley Cup that you were there last June. And I don't know, it's like I'm more or less seeing a Providence Bruins lineup in these playoff rounds and the play-ins, round robin, whatever you want to freaking call them.
Yeah, whatever it is. Like I said, I'm not prepared. I have nothing for what happens when your team is playing between the regular season and the playoffs, and it's throwing me off. How am I supposed to have a weird ritual for that? I've been trying to wear my sweater. That's not working. I don't know. 105 degrees. I can't put my hat and everything on. I'll die. All right. Well, that being said, why don't we talk about something that maybe makes us both feel a little better and just the people who just generally love hockey? There has been 870 million hockey games this week, 6 games here, there. Oh my God. I never understood March Madness because I hate basketball, and March Madness is my nightmare, like in the beginning. But I get it now. I get it when you're all day long just watching your favorite stuff on TV all day long. So real quick, we're just going to go and because besides tonight, Toronto, because of course the Columbus Blue Jackets had to break my heart in Tortorella's by, I don't know, in the last 4 minutes. I literally was screaming, what are you doing? What are you, the Bruins in the 2013 Game 6? I literally was saying that.
I swear to God, Torch is like your spirit animal.
I love Tor. I really do love him. He's so funny. Like he's just like I said, he's the type of person I can see coming in and flipping his all over the place and then walking out and like 2 minutes later coming like, well, gee, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It just I'm very, very mad now because we lost 3. We're down 3 goals, Also, I love when he's just like, yeah, good call, ref. Like I love when he makes that face. So, yeah, oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? There was some swearing going on there. But Carolina, as you established, knocked off the Rangers in short order. 3 gone. The Flames took care of the Jets, right? Columbus hopefully will knock out the Maple Leafs because I just need the energy of them not even making the first round.
Oh my God, I can't wait to tonight, 8 o'clock tonight. And I hopefully there's a lot of Toronto Maple Leafs outside and we get to see that thing happen again when Bergeron scored the overtime goal and wins it.
I was literally at the other day like, okay, so if Columbus wins this game, Toronto might freak out and just like literally burn the bubble down. Just like keep in mind Maple Leafs fans can surround the bubble and take it hostage. I'm just saying you can't keep all the Maple Leafs fans out, Gary Bennett. I'm just saying. Anyways, so we know the Blackhawks. I should have taken the Blackhawks because I did pretty good. If I would have taken the Blackhawks so far, I'd be 5 of the 7 decided, but I didn't. I took the Oilers, but Blackhawks won. They were playing pretty well, right? Kublik is nice. He's fun to watch. I didn't get, it's just good for a rookie, but they're in the West, so we don't get to see them as much, you know what I mean? Or at least I'm not as fixated because they don't affect my team directly. So I like to check in with them, though. That was a good series. And our arch nemesis, Montreal, knocked off the Pittsburgh Penguins. Oh, yeah. All right. Yep. Canucks won. Panthers are gone. I was so wrong on that series. So wrong. Because I'm not convinced the Islanders are a good team or not. Like, I think they're a decent team, but I never know what I'm going to get with them. Like, that series, they looked good, but next week they could look like, but doesn't matter. Washington will be playing them instead of us. I would have rather played the Islanders. Okay.
True
and
that.
the Coyotes, I was right. Coyotes, they're probably not going far, but they got themselves in, and their fans and that team needs that little win.
What a team. What a team. I mean, Darcy Kemper has been absolutely amazing in goal for them. He's like really putting them on the shoulders.
Who's his backup?
Yeah.
Who's the other guy in Arizona? I don't know. But anyways, yeah, he's been playing outstanding. Phil Kessel scored a goal the other day. Like, Phil looks comfortable since they've been back.
All
the life's good for him. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to talk to other people anyway, so he's perfectly good. Him and Dougie Hamilton are like, this is my element, man. Leave me alone. Well, Dougie Hamilton, if he's up and running or whatever. But yeah, that's the short order. We got one more left, and then we'll know. That being said, actually, before we get to talking about, like, we're going to play Carolina, obviously, we're 4 and whatever, but I'll just bring it up now so you can maybe rant about it. It was one of my other random things I forgot to put on the list, but you don't have the list, so that's fine. I can put it wherever I want. Is tomorrow night is the second half at 6 o'clock, the second half of the stupid draft lotto, once we know who the team is. So I just thought I'd bring it up. So next week, everyone tune in to hear Mark go off the deep end of however that fell out. So awesome week of hockey. Did you enjoy yourself? Hockey. That's what it was like all day. Hockey.
I did. I'm not sure if I didn't have a chance to do this. But at work, it was cool to, like, at lunchtime to listen to the game at noon, 2:30, and then come home for the 4 o'clock games. And yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool. That it was just like from noon till 10:30. Sometimes it was hockey. It was good to get into other people's streams like McLovin and Mancuso. Those guys were doing sportscaster streams where they just talk about the game, and I go on there and we just shoot the shit, drink, and so on. And have a blast. So that was kind of cool. But the hockey I thought was good in other places. I didn't see it much, in Toronto with the Bruins. But yeah, it's just some big upsets. The Rangers won. I was thinking the Rangers were the team that might go far, but it's just because the goaltending of Shesterkin and Grigoriev, or Djoriev, whatever you want to call them, and the bread man up front and those guys. So, but unfortunately, that's just the way this 2020 year has been going for a lot of people, and especially coming back from sports. It's some people weren't fully prepared, and so. I loved it. I really did, and I just can't wait for some more of it. There's going to be a lot more teams that are leaving the bubble, and maybe the ice conditions will lighten up a little bit.
So, yeah. Do you want to talk about that, ice complaints?
Yeah, and it's one of them directed at your boy Torrey Krug. I wasn't too thrilled about what he had to, and it's a media thing. I get it, and it can be frustrating and so on. But he did mention something in an interview about the ice condition, and that he wasn't happy about it. But for me, hearing something like that, it's just like, well, wait a minute. Some teams are 2-0 or 3-0 on this ice, and they're winning. So figure it out. I understand that what you're practicing on and what you're playing on might be different and so on, but these are you guys are all professionals. You guys played on bad ice before. I'm tired of the excuses. I
don't think he was saying as an excuse, and he did go on to say, but everyone has to play on this ice. Do you know what I mean? Like, basically saying, but that's not, like, these ice conditions suck, but it's not an excuse. Do you know what I mean? Like, he kind of even said that, like, in the, like, little 5-minute or whatever, like that debriefing. But they're not the only ones. A lot of people are, you know what I mean? But it's not the ice conditions. They're not helping the Bruins, but it's not the reason.
Like I said earlier, you hope that they have the time to go in there and do something before the official round one actually starts. Because I believe from people that I've talked to, I know I got to talk to my boy Johnny, but a professional rink like that takes about maybe 2 days to 3 days at the most to do a new sheet. So we'll see what happens with that.
Well, that's what I was thinking, is if they can set it now you're only going to have 2 games a day probably on each sheet of ice. Do you know what I mean? Because now you're not playing it's been like the running of the Bulls the last few days. You know what I mean? Back to back, playing. This is craziness. So hopefully they can set it like once everything's done tonight and leave it be for the next few days and just let it set in. And hopefully by the time they actually play, it says start the 11th, but again, those might have been tentative dates. Like you said, they might start it on Thursday or Friday or whatever, because they still can play 2 games a day, and there's only 8 series continuing at this point or whatever kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, all right, that's that. This is a random thought that I had. We're like flying through these things, by the way. I think it's because we're in a grumpy mood. Whenever we're in grumpy moods, we always just go through everything like, all right, so this was a random thought. So far, how do you think officiating and player safety has been?
The officiating has pretty much been on par with a lot of the stuff that I've seen, even in the regular season. A lot of bad calls. The mustache Matthews, my neck, and when the other night when he got hit, I believe, on the elbow, and then wrenched his neck back to get the call. That was kind of ridiculous. But it's funny that players are actually getting penalized for the extra face wash. So, you can go in there and just give them a little bit, but if you're in there for a longer, than 2 or 3 seconds,
3 seconds for COVID precaution.
Yeah, exactly.
Here,
So,
smell my glove, but don't smell it long enough to be exposed to bodily.
so I mean, it hasn't been that bad. I mean, nothing's really jumped out at me except for that one. It's just I called that once I saw the head movement. I'm like, oh my god, that's so Toronto.
There's been a couple I thought might have used some supplementary discipline just like throughout hockey. You know what I mean? Not particularly against our team or anything, but just generally. There's been a few out there where it's like, you know what I mean? But I think generally it's the most consistent I've seen because they're like, don't mess up the officiating this year.
Right.
Don't do it. The stakes are too high. Yeah. What are we running? What time are we at? I'm starting to get my second win. I'm starting to shake out all the annoyings. All right. Well, I'm just
45.
trying to 45. Jesus,
Yeah.
we're flying through this. People like hearing us talk. We should talk about something longer. Let's talk. No.
Yeah, set your media player for 1.
I listen
half.
to mine at 2. It drives people insane. My kids are always like, what are you listening to? Because if I listen to podcasts at double time, not all of them, but most of them, then I can listen to it faster. Who needs to listen to NPR at regular speed? I'm just saying.
Holy shit, you are strange.
I am strange. Okay, sorry. All right, focus.
I love it though.
Yeah. I think maybe we could do a store next door break for real quick.
Yeah, we could do that. Let's talk about the store next door. They are a company based in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. They are people with disabilities doing great things and earning a paycheck, just like you and me. So let's please go to the storenextdoor.ca and buy some of their awesome hockey stuff that they make out of recycled hockey sticks and other recycled materials. And they do such a great job. We have a ton of items that we picked up, and they even threw in some goodies for us that we're going to give away in the upcoming Patreon stuff, but we'll talk about that later. But anyway, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more hockey, hopefully with a little. I'll get angry again. I'll just let you know.
Yeah, you will. Lynn, I'm like in a bad mood. I'm trying to. Mark's like, I can't wait to see your happy face. I love the team. My aunt's always like, I love you. You love your Bruins. They don't love me all the time. They don't love me all the time.
All right, we will be right back.
There's a lot of people with disabilities that can't just go out and find a job. So we set out to create a business to fill those needs, one stick at a time. The Store Next Door gift shop is a Yarmouth-based manufacturer and retail outlet store. So we make great ideas that any of our employees come up with, and we reuse and recycle as much as possible. Our most popular item is probably our hockey furniture. And we take broken hockey sticks and turn them into different products. We go through a lot of hockey sticks, a whole lot. Considering that it's only been a year and we're shipping internationally, I think that that's been a huge success. Most people's reactions are, wow, you do this here? We don't accept can't here. Everyone here learns in different ways, but we want to give everybody every opportunity to find exactly what works for them. There's nothing better than when a customer buys something and then one of our employees say, I made that. They have meaningful lives and build things they can be proud of and get a paycheck for it. I'm Amy Acker, and we change lives one job at a time.
Hey, Bruins fans, we're back after hearing from the great folks at the Store Next Door up in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. Please go to the storenextdoor.ca to buy some fantastic items from awesome people. So we are back. We are going to talk about what's going on forward. Heather, where are we going?
Well, I don't know. I think just generally let's talk about what this team is going to look like in a couple days when we start this tournament. What we need to... Well, actually, we're not going to do that first. First, we're going to talk about the Hurricanes in the first round matchup, okay?
All right, let's do that.
Let's do that. That makes more sense. Let's just run down a little bit. So we're number 4. We're slotted now. We know we're playing the Hurricanes. They only got to play 68 games this year. They won 38, they lost 25, and they had 5 overtime losses, but they had 81 points. Goal differential of 26. They were 4th in the Metro, 6th in the East, and 9th in the league. So overall, they were always like a pretty middling, solid, like they were playing for the wild card and stuff. They were in and out of that picture, yeah. We lost to them in a shootout. Shocker. Remember when we had 14 shootout losses or whatever we had this year? That was back in December. Remember back in December, way back then when people like could talk to each other and go to stores and movie theaters and stuff. Hockey games, crazy.
Really? That happened?
I remember once upon a time.
Oh my God. I think I read a book about that.
In January, we beat them in overtime, which I'm sure like everyone like myself was going, please God, don't go to a shootout. Please God, don't go to a shootout.
You know, Ian Glendon was saying that.
So 229. February 29th, we did beat them 4-1 though. So, but since the return to play, we look like ass, and the Carolina Hurricanes have swept through the Rangers. I agree with you. I expected the Rangers to put up more of a fight, but yeah, they've looked pretty awesome. They won 3-2, 4-1, and 4-1. Sebastian Aho has 8 points, 3 goals, 5 assists. Svechnikov has 5 points, 3 goals, and 2 assists. Vatanen has 3 points. Slavin's looking awesome. Voracek, you always have to look out for, and they've got people. And this is without if Dougie Hamilton may or may not get to, you know what I mean, or whatever. So that's what we're looking at for the first round. Yes. Do you have any comments specifically more? I know you already talked a little about them, but any other specific comments about the Hurricanes before we talk about what this team needs to look like when this tournament starts?
I just want to dive into I was going to talk about Aho and Svechnikov, whatever, and but you already took care of that. So I was just going to go on the defense. This is a scary, scary good defense for this Carolina Hurricanes team. Sami Vatanen is no slouch at all, and like you said, you touched on Slavin. Yeah, he is a very good defenseman, and yeah, and sick goal. I believe it was the first game of the play-in rounds. I keep calling them that, round robins.
I think it was the game-winning goal in that.
Yeah, it was. He just broke right in and just roofed it over. I don't know how he got space through Lundqvist on that one. I put out, give him the Selke right there just for that. So, not the Selke. God, the call. No. I'm bad on my trophies.
You're looking at the Norris Trophy for defensemen.
No. What's the one? Conn Smythe.
Oh. Okay.
That's the one. Playoff MVP.
I'm like, I don't know where you're going. I can't.
Playoff MVP. That's what I meant. But no, it's a very, very good defense. And it's going to be tough for the Bruins to crack through these guys. And you got some pretty much their names. But they're not like names in goal that are gonna like jump out at you and scream playoff success. But these guys are finding ways to get it done as a tandem, and that's Peter Mrazek and James Reimer. Steve Dangle's favorite player, you know. So this is going to be interesting to see how this Boston Bruins team is going to crack the code on transitioning out of their zone defensively first, and then moving on the offense through the two zones and get past that Carolina blue line. If you can expose a weakness through these guys, through this awesome defense, keep hammering it and find more ways to just expose them and get around them. If you can't, this series is going to be a long one. And the goaltending, like I said, you don't know what you're going to get with these guys, but they have sub-twos. I mean, James Reimer got into one game, and he let in 1 goal, and Peter Mrazek has played the 2 games, and he's got a 1.50 goals against average, .940 save percentage. Reimer in that one game had a .974. So they're a bit of inspiration in goal right now with these guys. So, you know, but they are goaltenders that can be beat. I just think that the Bruins getting past that defense, getting the goal, getting shots on from the blue line, creating havoc out front. You touched on that earlier about net front presence, and that's gotta be on the agenda of Bruce Cassidy, who, in my opinion, his body language on the bench for all this freaking the round robin was wow. And then what he says in his press conference is something totally different. Oh, I like where we're going. It's like, whoa, what happened? But anyway, it's just going to be important for them to find out Carolina's weaknesses, because that Carolina team is going to come at you fast and heavy.
If our offense gets going, I'm not worried about being able to match them. They have some great players. You know what I mean? They're a young, hungry team too. Like they know that, like, right now they're probably like, oh yeah, remember how they swept us last year? Let's make sure that doesn't happen again. Let's knock them out this year. You know what I mean? Like, and they started their whole adventure last year in a crazy way anyways. They should have never been in the Eastern Conference Finals with the Bruins to start with. The, like, you know, when people predict, like, when the playoffs started, no one would have thought that's who the Bruins, you know, whatever. I think that their goalies are weak. They're decent goaltenders, but they're not solid goaltenders, and the defense is the bigger problem. And that's been one of our big problems. We'll talk about special teams. I know you want to when we're, you know, this is just kind of general talk versus Carolina. Defense has been transitioning the puck pretty steady. You know what I mean? It was a mess versus Philly, but the last few games, like, defense is getting it out of our end pretty much the way we always do. Quick up, you know, nice pass, whatever. Offense is struggling driving to the net, and that's going to be a problem with this defense because we're quick enough. If you get behind them, we can shell these goaltenders. You know what I mean? If we control, that was one of my things that was like my con, is everyone has been controlling the pace of the game except for us. We've had moments, especially during Tampa Bay, where we were in control of the game. Even parts of this last game we were. But that's what we need to do. We need to get behind this defense and hammer the shit out of these goaltenders because they're, again, decent goaltenders, but no offense, like Peter Mrazek shouldn't strike fear into the heart of friggin', you know, Patrice Bergeron. And they know we're playing like crap too. And you think they're not going to expose all our weakness? They're going to be bumping hard. You know what I mean? Whatever. So that's that. Did you want to talk about, like, let's just talk about what are we going to have to really do? So you wanted to talk about special teams. You're not impressed so far with especially the power play numbers.
Yeah, I mean, today they failed to score a power play goal and get themselves out of a hole that's a little concerning for me. Possibly something that they're definitely going to work on before they get to the Carolina series. There's a lot of things to work on, and you know, I just want to say and clarify something that I hope that my negativity is not bad. You know what I mean? It's just the product on the ice, from what I've seen, is just something that is not particularly nice to see when you're trying to get up and win a cup. So, and it could be a 180. They could come out and like sweep friggin' Carolina again, and I would be just like, holy crap, where'd this come from? Well, you know, so, but until that happens, it's just one of those things that I'm just seeing. There's not good things that I'm seeing, but
as captain negativity, I would like to say, I don't think you're having unhealthy negativity right now. You know how sometimes we as fans go to like a dark place in our own fan mind? I think you have eyes and you've been observing what the team has looked like for the last 7 days. And after all the drama before we ever even got to Toronto, maybe they do just need a few more days because they do look more comfortable and they are, but they can't wait till game 3 to kick off.
You can definitely see progressions every game. You know, it's there. I don't know. It's just, and hearing what they're saying, it's almost like what Tuukka Rask said. Did I read that already?
No.
All right, let me pull that up. And it kind of bothered me a little bit. And I'm a huge Tuukka fan, but this is, I don't know. I just got the feeling that if he's not taking this seriously, is everybody else not taking this seriously? But Joe Haggerty, he quoted these round-robin Tuukka Rask. These round-robin games or whatever they were, you just shake the rust off and try to get back to the team game. It doesn't matter what seed you are because you need to beat them all to advance. Now it's on the real hockey. Now it's on to real hockey. I mean, to me, I thought that this was supposed to be real hockey in preparation. So, I mean, you had your 2 weeks of camp before these round-robin games started. So, I still want to see it. So, I mean, I totally have faith that this Boston Bruins team can come back, but it's just like I said, it's just one of those things that you just see. You're seeing things that just aren't clicking. Chemistry is not fully there yet, and it's 2020. It's like we've never been through this before. I get that the rest and time off could be a huge factor. So let's just see what happens coming up this week when they finally get the schedule out, and hopefully there's appropriate enough amount of time for Bruce Cassidy to get to these guys and the rest of the coaching staff too, because ultimately they're at fault too for a pretty sad display, in my opinion.
The power play has been atrocious, but the PK hasn't been too bad, and we have spent some time in the box. Like, that hasn't been – it's not as good as it normally is, but it hasn't – again, if we can't score on the power play, we're fucked. Excuse my language. I know we're trying to not drop F-bombs in case certain people listen, but we are, because that top line's not popping, but he's been playing with the power play. He's had McAvoy and Krug out there at times with Krejci, and you know what I mean, instead of like Pasternak, like he's been throwing out, you know what I mean, which I kind of like when Bergeron and Krejci are on the ice for, like, I understand the necessity that they need to be on.
A lot of creativity right there.
Right, but when you put, like, every now and then, like, say you score a goal and you're trying to get back in the game, you might be able to tie it up, say you get a penalty, I would put them both on the ice. Just like, I'm weird that I always think you should have two defensemen on the blue line. Someone like a Torrey to pitch it and do whatever, and someone else to make sure if they come up ice, they don't get far up ice before. You know what I mean? That's just me. I don't like when there's four forwards on a power play.
You talk about Charlie McAvoy a little earlier. I thought his play in the last two games was increased a lot. And the way he is like that bull moose that takes that puck and basically just like going end to end, a Bobby Orr rush right there. Yeah, I mean, it was on display today, and I thought that was much needed, and we need more of that moving forward. You want to crack this Carolina defense, that's exactly what you need, is your support from your defensemen that are willing to take a chance. But you also got to make sure that you have support on the backside from a forward that's dropping back, because you do not want to get involved in any odd man rushes the other way with a team like this. And you certainly don't want to go into the box in a stupid penalty with a lineup like this, because it seriously make you look silly.
Well, that's what's been happening is, I mean, not that we haven't got any legit penalties and not like we've taken so many penalties, but some of the penalties we've taken are definitely dumb penalties that we know better than to take. And I think that's part of I feel like the forwards need to work on their defensive play the next couple days. I feel like, what's the use? What's the use if McAvoy skates it? And Matt Grzelcyk was doing it the last couple games. What's the point if your quick puck-moving, smart defenseman gets the puck in the other zone and all his forwards are lollygagging, just doing whatever they want, and actually making the defense's job harder because the defense can't focus on helping you on the offensive end when they're too busy always trying to be defensive because you're like letting it skirt out, whatever. I don't know. Like, just, they're one of the smartest teams in the league, and they're not playing smart. And that's what concerns me, because the Bruins are the type of team, like, they could come out game one and just all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, the Boston Bruins are here. And just like, you know what I mean? Like, not say put Carolina in their place, but a little like, okay, just so you know, it's not going to be like when you played the Rangers. Right now, they got to be thinking, damn, it was harder to play the Rangers. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's not good whatsoever on that end. But
giveaways, the giveaways have got to minimize drastically. I mean, when you have possession and you're just letting it go, that's got to stop. And today was a great example. 19 giveaways, and I mean, and Washington wasn't much better. I mean, they were at 12, but still.
They didn't look good either today.
No. And I believe, and maybe I'm totally wrong, maybe I'm watching a totally different game, but I feel that the giveaways aren't in the defensive zone. Like you said, the team looks like they're trying real hard to transition out fast and quick and accurately. But my thing is I think a bunch of these giveaways are being given away in the offensive zone when trying to create scoring chances.
Mm-hmm. Defense is playing like Tampa Bay or whatever, and like that's a loss if they, no Hedman or whatever. But Yeah, that's what I feel like. It's almost like they're, again, this goes back to they're not playing cohesive. It's like usually everyone's on the same page and nobody, and like they're struggling with all their strengths, I think is what has me the kind of just, I don't understand like what's happening right now. Every now and then the top line disappears because like we said, they're supposed to be the production line, not the perfection line. Okay. So also, it can't help when all they hear all day long. That was something I just want to bring up when we're talking about. Have you got the feeling the last few days that the Bruins players are very annoyed with Bruins media? Like they seem like they're a little short and they're kind of like, just annoyed at them. And I don't know if it's they're annoyed at themselves so they don't want to go through the like same five, you know what I mean? Or just maybe piss them off at some point. I don't know.
Did you happen to go through the virtual media tour when the bubble was set?
No.
Okay, because I don't know exactly how the media is doing all this. I assumed it was by Zoom and so on, or some other video conferencing.
Well, I think so because I watched the clips of the different teams, and their pressers or whatever after. And I did hear him be like, unmute your thing or whatever. So I would assume that they probably have some kind of monitor, you know what I mean? So that the players can see the media on. And it's, I'm sure, limited to, the NHL media personnel and then whatever teams that were playing's media, get through or whatever. Maybe
right.
The national ones like ESPN or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I think it must be weird giving an interview or getting interviewed, but it just seems to me that even Brandon Carlo seemed a little annoyed the other day, and he's usually pretty chill. Like, you know what I mean?
He's normally really chill.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's just a reflection of their frustration with their own selves, and they don't like. Did you see Tortorella's interview the other day? His interview, it was 1 minute and 10 seconds, and half of it he just ignored it, which he does anyways. He just ignores any question he doesn't want to answer. He just is like, oh, like you'd be like, oh, Mr. Tortorella, what do you think about he'll just ignore you as if you literally did not call him by his own name. And then the funniest part to me was like, any more questions for Coach? Because clearly he's not answering anything. And it's like, and he just looks like, nope, okay, cool, bye. Like,
yeah, he's a comedian, that's for sure.
Well, the thing that cracks me up about him is because he's so mad. Like I can't talk or I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose my shit. Like I can't.
Yeah.
Nope.
Absolutely.
All right. So anything else about what you think? So special teams have to be better, especially the power play.
I agree. We got to get back on track to where that was, which basically was a very valued asset in that 100-point season. And I want to see it back. I want to see my team back. I miss them,
Yeah, like I know. I'm like, where the hell are my Bruins? Like they have times where they're a hot mess. I know that they, no matter how well they play, like there are times where it is painful to watch them play. But does it have to be right now after I patiently waited for 4.5 months for them to come back and play on?
And that segues right into something I do want to finish up with on the topic of the next round in the Bruins and Hurricanes. Is Carolina's last game was on August 4th. They made quick work of the New York Rangers, so that could be a possible factor, but who knows when everybody's had the last 4 or 5 months off, it's so strange to gauge anything nowadays with no normalcy, but we're treading back that way. But I wonder if like having up to 10 days off, I wonder how that's going to be with them. So should be interesting. And where the Bruins, whatever the schedule comes out and who's the fresher team, who wants it more, see what happens.
Yeah, well, that's part of what's made this all thing so interesting because, it sounded like it might be interesting. And I think they've done a good job with just whatever. Like it still feels like an intimate game. Like hockey's a weird game where you're in a big thing, but you feel like you're right with them right there, Yeah. And, but just it really is like totally different teams. Like that's kind of what's making it fun is that the Bruins are number 3 instead of the number 1 team. And St. Louis, same thing. They also, like Dallas struggled, so it's interesting to see what's kind of happened to the top teams, right? The But it's also interesting to see all those other teams, and I mean, I guess on one hand, a lot of these teams heard for 4 months about how they don't deserve to be in there and they didn't really make the playoffs. You know what I mean? And there's the asterisks and all this other shit. So maybe it gives you a little fire to want to do better. But there's been some upsets that nobody, like, even because we're at a weird time where we're almost to what would have been normal training camp time. Do you know what I mean? So this could have been what it looked like at the start of a normal season.
Yeah.
But it's interesting just in the context of the play-ins and for the Stanley Cup, like, it's not a normal season. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, and I think it's going to be interesting, but I just need my Bruins to, like, I don't know.
One thing I want to do is again, I just want to talk and just make sure that everybody realizes that we're huge Rass fans. But I need more from him too. There's a lot of times he looked, even a lot of people on Twitter are pointing it out that, when he does his side-to-side movements on his knees, those are slower than normal. And, his reaction time doesn't look like it's all there, to be honest. But, if they won this game, I would have rather have him in his history with the Islanders in his career, as he's 17-5-1 with a 1.88 goals against average and a 9.37 save percentage. But we are playing Carolina, so it is what it is. Raff's career versus the Hurricanes is 9-4-3, 2.27, and a 9.28. It's not bad numbers at all, but he's going to have to live up to his over 500 success against this former Hartford Whalers franchise.
Hartford Whalers. That's what I always chant. Hartford Whalers.
I just like Brass Bonanza.
I don't know. I'm at a loss of words. I'm sorry, people. This isn't the most fun podcast that we've done. It's just, like I said to you, you're going to regret not have recorded with me in the morning when I was like,
Trust me.
do it game day. Yeah, like everything was so hopeful. Now it's not even halfway through my day.
Trust me. Wait till you hear some of the podcasts this week, because I know you're going to be tuned into the Big Bad Bruins pod. I know you're going to probably be tuned into Dump and Change. Those guys I'm really waiting for. I'm waiting for the F-bombs to absolutely go crazy with that crew.
It's like my mouth is on their podcast.
Yeah, right?
Like,
so it should be interesting to hear what everybody else is feeling. I'm pretty sure we're not going to be the only grumpy crew on the pod waves out there. So
I just feel bad because we, if anything, usually have a lot of energy, but Jesus, I can't just, like I said, I feel like I'm a little just disoriented being a hockey fan this week. That's all right. We have a couple days, let my brain rest. Can't wait until you lose your shit after whatever happens at the draft lotto tomorrow night, because you will either way lose it.
I had a picture of Chris Johnson, Sportsnet Chris Johnson. He had the odds of the teams that are out of it, that are available to get the first round pick, and possibly Alex Lafreniere from the Rimouski Oceanic. And so should be interesting. Yeah. I am probably going to lose my shit tomorrow too.
You are. You're already annoyed about the whole entire format.
Oh, the draft was so stupid.
And
it's like you could have done this. You could have done this all in October. You give a team a cup. You have some time. You're doing it online anyway. But you know what I'm saying? Everybody's not going to be in the same building, so just dumb.
Stupid draft. Just kidding. That being said, once the actual draft is all settled down, we'll make sure that before the actual draft happens, you get a good, draft segment out of your system of who to look for, what you hope for, whatever, where the Bruins are at for the draft, this and that.
I already got my black book.
It's too early for that. I'm just going to do what I always do. Just listen to podcasts about the listings and the rankings and the whatever. Look at some people if I don't know who they are, like if they're international and I haven't really heard of them. And then I'm going to let you just do your thing and sit here and go, And then when the actual draft happens, we'll let you lose your shit on that too later on. All right. Well, we really didn't have that much. Really, this was more of a general, let's recap. We returned to play. Well, at least most teams returned to play. I don't know if the Bruins returned to play.
We didn't get off the bus.
Return to play soon because now the shit does count. What was the one Blackie sent about the Ask BNG? Were there any more BNG?
Yeah,
I don't
we
know.
should do that. I just had it. But John Gillot, 1 day ago sent, "Will we make it out of the first round?" Hashtag Ask BNG. Let's hope so, John. Let's really hope so. I hope that this is just a figment of everybody's imagination. We saw something bad, and all of a sudden, poof, magically delicious. This team comes back and just trounces this Hurricanes team. They block the weather, the winds, and beat them and move on to the second round. And we'll see. Let's hope.
I'm sorry, I have to laugh like with your metaphor and the storm and just.
Yeah, that was terrible. I just had to throw it up there because I was like, okay, wind. It's not a tornado. You know what I mean?
I do know that there's. I would say yes, they'll make it out of the first round. I have to believe that now that they're the number 4 seed, now that they've kind of had reality, like they were riding pretty high, right? Went to Game 7 last year. They played awesome all season long. Like every team, you have a lull and no one's expecting you to play perfect all the time. I mean, well, this is Boston, so of course they expect you to play perfect.
Of course.
But real people can't do that. So some people like us, it is a little unexcusable of what we've looked at. I don't know who to be mad at. The players, the coaching staff, the situation of just like the weirdness of the bubble. And like maybe they're suffering from depression being in the bubble. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Now they're a week into it. The fun, like extended road trip with my buddies might be starting to wear off in the tediousness of everyday activity. I don't know. They should make it out of the first round. And I have to believe like now it's like, cool. Well, now that you have to fight for it, go out and fight for it. Like people are laughing at us. They're like, oh, the Bruins. What? And I'm laughing at us. I'm like, what in the holy crap show Batman is this?
All
it's
right.
getting better. Hopefully a couple hard practices will get their asses back in line. I don't even want to talk about hockey anymore. I was so happy about hockey.
Hashtag AskBNG. This is from Chris Blackie, one of the great hosts of the Big Bad Bruins podcast. Great to hear those guys last week back on the pod waves after, I believe, a 3-week hiatus. But he says, what specific thing needs to happen in order for them to win the cup?
A miracle.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. That's it, Chris. So, yeah, I mean, you got to buy in. Everybody's got to buy in. You got to get some quick chemistry going and just let it ride. Let it ride with what you got and put everything. You need to put 120%. You got to go well over the bar to get this done, in my opinion. And hopefully it happens. Who knows? But it's got to be a lot better hockey than what I've been seeing, to be honest with you, because there's going to be teams out there that are real hungry and teams that are going to take advantage. Younger teams, in my opinion, like Carolina and some like Arizona. You're getting a lot of the the lower teams in the league involved in something like this. So, and it's good to spread the wealth and everything like that. But these are also teams that you're not overly accustomed to playing all the time on a regular basis, and ones that can absolutely surprise a team. So, yeah, I mean, there's so many variables. It's crazy.
I'm sorry, this is just a random comment for all the crap about, McDavid being out and Crosby and Malkin out and Draisaitl's out and maybe, whatever, Matthews and Marner might be out and all these top players. There are other top players that will still be playing, and you know what I mean? So what? Alex Ovechkin will still be playing. Like, I'm just saying, like, the idea that those 6 people are the make or break teams in the league, when they're on teams that are not even like top tier teams, like they're good, solid team or whatever, but like, no offense, like, yes, the Maple Leafs played better the second half, but they're not like mind blowing either. They should be, but they're not because they suck on defense. And it's not helping. Jake Muzzin's gone now. That's not going to help the cause. Also, Werenski's in tonight too. I didn't think we would see him. And just another random thought. How effing happy do you think that the NHL Central staff was when the Blackhawks and Montreal made it to fight for the first round, into the first round, for marketing, for money dollars, for advertising. They're like, cha-ching. Just saying, that's good for the league revenue-wise, right? Gonna have a lot of crazy hockey people watching longer.
So listen, I just got a tweet from my friend Mike Bond, and he is one of two hosts of the Scuttle Puck podcast, one of my favorite weekly
podcast, boys.
programs. Yep, with Dale Horde. Great show. And he commented, I would be completely nonplussed by the round robin. Can't imagine players were up for it and probably didn't want to show anything to opposition. I seriously look at those games as exhibition and would not be worried in the slightest. Thoughts on that?
I can see an argument a little bit. Not defending like Tuukka, and sometimes Tuukka's just bitchy at the media too, and just like whatever, he doesn't, But his comment about, you do have to beat everybody in the long. It doesn't really matter where you're seated. You still have to win 4 rounds to win the Stanley Cup. So I can kind of see that. Maybe not as pissy as Tuukka might have said it, but I can see that. So I can see that maybe, yes, you want to be the number 1 seed possibly because it's supposed to be a quote-unquote easier route. But I think 2019 taught us anything. If not, there is no easy route to the Stanley Cup finals. And sometimes all those teams that are supposed to be there are gonzo in the first few games of the 2 months or whatever. Excuse me, I had a thing on there. And so yes and no. So I don't think they're necessarily throwing things like you were saying. I want to hope that they were actually trying a little bit. But I also do think I can see why the top tier teams, Philly was playing for position because they needed it more. Do you know what I mean? And they're playing good hockey. They had to establish themselves. But Tampa, Washington, and Boston, just for example, they're perennials. They're always, you know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, it's probably was more of a conspiracy, so we didn't have to maybe play friggin' Montreal in the first round. No, I'm just kidding. But I do think that if they get a little more warm up, they're going to bounce back and be fine. And I don't think being in the 4th seed or whatever is that big of a deal because really it's not so much the first round. It's the second round that always clogs up what the expectations are. Do you know what I mean? Because you get someone sneak in, but that's usually where you have your 2 and 3 play and everything else. I don't know. That's a long-winded thing, but I agree with him a little bit, but I ain't saying I ain't worried because today I wanted them to come out and there was no push. As a matter of fact, they got pushed around a lot in certain areas, and that annoyed me a little bit. Hello, Allred.
Right. Yeah, so, to just follow up that, I just, you guys have all heard me whine throughout this whole episode, so you guys pretty much know where I stand on that. But, like I said, we could be surprised, and this team just absolutely shows up and is a wagon right to the end of the cup. So we'll see what happens. But what else do we got? Anything else?
I don't know. Any other questions?
I had some on Facebook, but I might, because I didn't get a chance to go to them and copy and paste, but I will, and I'll probably add them to next week's program. I know we got one from the Bruins for Life group. Those guys, 25,000 strong over there. They nice. Yeah, we posted a ton of stuff over there, which Mark McDonald, he's the admin over there, and he, just allows me to post whatever I can. So, yeah, I mean.
Well, we had 1 review this week. Not a lot of people are following directions, people. 200 reviews by the 200th episode. I'm going to need you to go out there. There's a lot of downtime now that half the teams have been eliminated. Go, rate, and review. Thank you. Sheffery or whatever. I don't know how to say it. I never know how to read.
There's some strange names on the reviews.
Okay, but anyways, it says awesome Bruins podcast. This was Monday. Very good Bruins podcast. 10 out of 10. Excuse me, my kid's moving my hot tea. I recommend listening to Mark and Heather. They know what they're talking about. Hey, I don't know if we know what we're talking about, but we certainly talk. Hello, this is Eric. Hello. Say hello.
What's up, Iraq?
I got puked.
He just puked. Nice. He's all right, though, right? He's a tough cookie because he's a hockey player, right? And a dancer. And just the type of kid that can fall down, smash his face, and get up like that, hurt, and then move on. He's trying out some jumping jacks. I don't know. All right, this was very special. I don't have anything else. I'm in a mood, like nothing's popped in my head. Like sometimes this thing's pop in my head. I know this was not as long as we normally do, but I'm not in the mood, and now this is happening.
All right. Well, we're going to end it right here. And thank you to Heather for joining me. As always, it's been
Thank
awesome.
you, Patreon. Thank you,
Yes.
awesome writers.
Thank you, Patreon members. Please go to patreon.com/Black and Gold Hockey Podcast and donate $1 per episode. We would love it if you would do that. And we love our continued contributors to the financial side of our program. And we have a lot of stuff to give away in the upcoming weeks once the inventory gets a little larger. And we're gonna have a lot of fun with this. So hopefully we get some more subscriptions. Thanks for the shares, the retweets. Everybody at blackandgoldhockey.com, the website, 2,000 articles is a huge milestone for me. I started this off as myself, and we grew it up to a team and a group and an awesome family of 26. And we're looking for more people. So if you want to write, you want a podcast, we're doing a podcast network, Bruins Podcast Network. We might bring on some other shows that cover the league, but primarily it's going to be your go-to for Bruins content on the pod wave. So stay tuned for that. Maria from Watertown, she's a constant caller to WEEI 98.5 Sports Hub. She's going to have her own show. We got Jack Gottsell. He's preparing for a show up there. We're bringing on probably another few. So if you want to be a part of the team, send me an email. Get in touch with the website. You know how to, all the social media that's you see right now. And that's for the YouTube video viewers. I'm sorry.
At Black and Gold Pod and at Black and Gold 277.
That's me.
That's
so anyway, we will just end it right there. I thought this was it was a tough one, but we got a lot of things that we talked about off our shoulders. Hopefully that our next program will be talking about maybe possibly a Boston Bruins win over the Carolina Hurricanes, or possibly two. That'd be awesome because I really want to get out of this funk. But I'm looking forward to the next challenge for this Bruins team. As an emotional standpoint, where are they? Do they really want it, or are they just being here? So, and maybe if the schedule comes out, we might do a bonus pod, and maybe have some guests come in and talk about it. Maybe like a round table, maybe like an hour discussion with some.
Yeah, I want to do a round table. That'll be fun.
Okay, yeah, well, then we'll get on that. We'll talk about that. So anyway, thank you very much for everybody listening and everything you do for the Black and Gold podcast team and the website. There's just a bunch of class acts out there that really take care of us and moving our stuff forward, and we appreciate that. That stuff does not go unnoticed here as a family. So take care, and hopefully we just get some plug away on this Boston Bruins team, and we promise to be back with a little more positivity next week. So take care, everybody.
Real quick, let's ask Eric, who's down here behind me. Eric, are the Bruins going to look better versus the Carolina Hurricanes?
Yeah!
Are we going to beat the Carolina Hurricanes in this 7-game series? Jerry's out on that one, I guess. He's like, oh, well, I don't know. Well, looking better is one thing. Winning's another. Okay, bye, guys.
Eric, if you were to have a betonline.ag account, would you take the over or under in this series?
What do you think? Over or under?
Over.
Okay. All right. I'm doing it. Go to BetOnline. Thank you to those guys for having our backs and continue along with us. Eric, take care, buddy.
Thanks.
Bye. Let's go, Bruins.
Let's go, Bruins.
Thanks again for listening to and supporting the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. Please share the show with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to and leave a 5-star rating for the show on your favorite podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Between shows, help us keep the Bruins talk going by visiting our website, blackandgoldhockey.com, by sending an email to blackandgoldhockeyblog@gmail.com, and by following the show on Twitter @blackandgoldpod.
Peace out.